Welcome, everybody, to the Monster Squad podcast. You are here with me, Josh, and Rob. You might know us from our previous episode. If you don't, this is one of our most interesting things that we horror fans like to do. This one episode will be giving a little overview, of Ash vs. Evil Dead seasons 1 through 3. We'll also be talking about Evil Dead 2013. This is all leading up to the new release of Evil Dead Rise, which comes out April 21st. We're going to start things up a little different. We're going to take care of the TV show first. We're going to go season 1, 2, 3, and then we'll talk about the remake. I think that the first person that we're going to have up on our pedestal is Rob. Rob, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, man. I love this season. I can't lie. I really love the first season of the show. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. There was some scenes in it that I thought were pretty funny, like the little doll in the store attacking Ash and shit. The little doll scene. I think it was episode 1, and I was just laughing, dude. And I didn't expect myself to laugh as much. There's another scene in it that really had me was there's a dinner scene, and Ash thinks the mom's a deadite and everything, and she ends up being one, which was good, but he ends up punching her in the face, and I just couldn't stop laughing. I was like, dude, this is hilarious. It was just funny. Some other things that I did enjoy about it too was I did like Pablo, Ash, and Kelly as a team. I did like seeing that. I think they all had great chemistry together, and they all did good. I mean, season 1 was pretty much everything I could ask for a first season. Another standout that was funny, another episode was episode 4, where Ash is on it, he's tripping. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. Yeah, I like how they did that. And what were the other ones? There was another episode in episode 6, I believe it was the 6th one, where Ash is trying to get laid in the bathroom. And I think there's another part in that right after that, everything's going, chaos is happening, and the little kid runs up and gets hit and knocked into the ceiling fan. I was just like, I'm like, Jesus, dude, they really just throw everything at you in the show, huh? There was another scene I'm trying to think of was when so when we go back to the cabin, that was another thing that I really enjoyed with the last 3 episodes when they go back to the the cabin where it all happened. And we got Ash fighting his evil clone or twin. Well, not twin, but the thing that's happening. And they're basically they're attacking each other, and I just found it funny because he's hitting himself. And he's like, what does he say? He's like, you got a bum knee or something. And they're hitting, they're calling out all the body parts that are fucked up and shit. That was pretty good. That was funny. What else was there? There was, his ex, when he finds her head talking to him in the shed.
Yep.
Yeah. She's like, you can skull fuck me if you want. I was like, Jesus, dude. They really, dude, they just went all out. And we also get some background, who created the book with the dark ones and stuff. And I don't know if we we do find out Ruby did it. And I also liked that we get Samara Weaving. Yeah. That was cool. That was a huge plus for me. That boosted up the season. And then, of course, spoiler alert, she dies. I was like, what the fuck, man? It would have been cool to see her in the next one. And I think that pretty much is the stuff that stood out to me the most. The creepy kids, Ruby's kids or whatever. I think it might have been one kid at the time in season 1. That was pretty cool how that happened. And I do like that they also acknowledge the past movies. There's a lot of flashbacks when Ash gets to the cabin. It did get repetitive at times. That would be one of the downfalls to it. But I didn't really notice that until season 3 more so. season 3, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I give it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I think it's all we could ask for a season. I mean, consider it's the first season. They pretty much included everything. I mean, we even get Ash getting his chainsaw hand back in that too. There's a scene. So yeah, I really liked it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, Josh, would you like to go next?
Yeah. Do you want me to go in like the first season or season 2?
We'll continue with season 1. All three of us will finish that off, and then we'll go from that.
The best thing about the show for me, the first season is amazing. If you're a fan of the movies, if you know, Bruce Campbell really does carry the show the whole entire time. Nothing against the other actors. Like, I love Pablo, I love Kelly. They're just as much needed as Bruce is in the show as Ash. The things that stood out to me were like the things in the opening were like, you know, he's talking to his neighbors, then he unleashes the book, of course, and they all become deadites, and like he's in his trailer. He like what Rob was saying, he gets the saw back in his hand in slow motion. Like I believe that was the end of the first episode where he cuts off her head, and it was very gory. It's over the top. It's everything you would ever want in an Evil Dead series. I even enjoyed Ruby. She was a great addition. I think one of the episodes that really stands out to me was where, of course, at the end at the cabin, and like that whole thing goes down. But like, I mean, this is spoiler specific, but I guess it's been out for a while now. But it's the way the show ends. Like, they offer him a way out, and he takes it. He like takes a bribe. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think. I mean, you know, the mom episode is probably my favorite, where she's a deadite, of course, and like that whole thing was great. And like, there's this great moment where he goes, you know, he buries her and he hits a cross. She's like, my mom was Jewish. He goes, oh shit. Like, he goes, I wish you would have told me that before I put up the cross. I was just like, holy shit, dude. Like, shit like that was what makes the show really fun. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. It's definitely very rewatchable. I would probably honestly give it a 9. I think it was solid for me, man. I enjoyed every second.
That's spot on, actually. Yeah, 8 or 9. I gave it an 8. So yeah.
Yeah.
So, as most people can figure, I'm Jared, since Josh and Rob went. As far as Ash vs. Evil Dead went for me, it definitely all combined into one. Granted, it was only 10 episodes long, but Bruce Campbell definitely held the show on its own. They did bring in a lot of experienced actors, you know, like the guys mentioned about Samara Weaving. And then actually, Josh mentioned this the other day, how Lucy Lawless was the one to play Ruby in this. And if not many people know, she did play Xena, Warrior Princess. And if anybody's listening to this podcast and has not heard of that or watched that, you're probably a little bit too young to be listening to this. As far as anything that really stood out in this, I did like that they brought it back towards the you know, the main scene in the cabin, like you guys previously mentioned. There wasn't much that I didn't like about this. I mean, you know, you ended up putting 2 other main characters, Kelly and Pablo, and they just end up growing on you. You know, usually with, you know, a franchise like this where, you know, it was made so far back in the day, you know, you're only focused on Bruce Campbell, but the way that they were able to, I guess, ingest these 2 other characters, it was like they should have been there from the start.
Yeah.
The deaths were actually very interesting. I do like the mom scene with the when he continued to punch her in the face, because
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but anybody else, you would be losing your shit. Like, if they didn't turn into a deadite, you'd be why are you
Yeah.
continuously doing this?
Yeah.
I did find it very funny that when the Deadite possessed Kelly, that everybody thought the Ash was actually the Deadite.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. But the way that they ended it with, giving Ash an easy way out, and he took it. That's that's what Ash Williams does. He takes the easy way out every time.
Yeah.
And I think I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10 because it stayed true to the original, and the director basically, I mean, I know it was Sam Raimi, but basically let Bruce Campbell do whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think with that conclusion, we're going to jump on to season 2. Rob, do you want to start it off?
Yeah, so season 2, we see Ash and the gang in Jacksonville. And I thought it was hilarious. This season, let me just get it out right away. 9 out of 10. Like, the dialogue in this was hilarious. There was times where, like, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, dude. Like, he says he wanted to put his spicy man meat into a mother-daughter sandwich. And this shit, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Where did they come up with this? And it's just too funny, man. All of it. We get to see Ash's house that he grew up in as a kid, and his room still kept the same. I thought that was pretty funny. They even have the I don't remember the name, but his pet's dead, the lizard or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
It's just dead in there. To meet his dad. His dad's hilarious. You can see where Ash gets his charm from. We find out that the town's got a nickname for him, Ashy Slashy. And they even got a song to go with it, And I felt bad for him when he arrives there. Everyone's like hating him and shit. And it's like, dude, like if you guys only were at the cabin and witnessed what he witnessed. But and then there's a morgue scene. Even before I get into the disgusting part, I thought it was so funny though. Ash again with his one line is he just looks at the girl's naked body and looks at her boobs and he's like, oh, what a waste. And I'm just like, dude. And he's digging through the bodies trying to find the book. And that scene though is just disgusting, dude. The dead bodies like on top of Ash, like somehow I forget how it even happens, and it's like shitting on him, and he's got shit running over. I was like, oh, come on, man, that was pretty cringy, but it was still funny. We also get Pablo having premonitions. I thought that was kind of cool. There was a scene where Ruby, in his premonition, like slits his throat, and I was like, Jesus, dude. What else we get? Oh, Ash's car ends up being possessed. That was, I mean, I think it was cool that they still involve his car in it, and I didn't expect it to ever be possessed like that, but that was kind of cool. What sucked though is, I think it might have been, it was closer to the end of the season, but the car is possessed and ends up killing Ash's dad right in front of him, runs him over. That was pretty unexpected. I did not kind of expect that at all to happen. Just like I was like on my phone, but I was paying attention, and I looked down on my phone, and then I just hear a like noise, and I just see blood go everywhere, and I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" And then I like rewind it, and I'm like, "Dude, his dad died."
Yeah.
And that was pretty unexpected. Then we have Pablo ends up having the book, the Book of the Dead inside of him. That was all right. That wasn't too bad. We also get the puppet in the hospital scene.
Oh yeah.
That was hilarious, dude. Like even when the puppet's fighting Kelly and stuff, and he's like trying to get. Yeah, I was just like, this is too funny. I think they go back to the cabin too. We also have the baby fetus that comes out of Ash inside the cabin. That shit was hilarious. And it's just so random. We get to see Henrietta again.
Yeah.
We get the chainsaw versus chainsaw scene with the ashes. That was cool. And then we get the cabin blowing up. I mean, that kind of solidified a lot of things at the time. I was like, oh shit. Is this the end? Like, they just blew that fucker up. And then we thought, spoiler alert again, I've dropped a few, but Pablo, we thought he died, but he comes back. And I was happy about that because I didn't want him to die. I really like him. So I was like, I felt bad. And Ash trying to like reverse everything. And I thought it was pretty funny though. Like Ash punches him in the face when he's alive and stuff. And because he thinks he's like still possessed or some shit.
Yeah.
and, but this time he was wrong on like with, I think it was, what was it? Kelly. I think it was her parents, wasn't it, in season 1 where he punched the mom?
Yep.
Yeah. And then I thought it was cool. We get Ash being basically the hero in the town at the end.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it all came full circle, but it also like it felt like that. It felt like a true. It almost felt like the finale to the whole series to me. Like, after seeing it, I was just like, I know we see Ruby at the end, but I was just like, wow, dude, like where are they gonna go with the 3rd season? Like he's being praised now, and in the beginning of the season, he's hated on.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool to see. I really thought the finale was better than season 1. And yeah, I mean, I loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Like I put season 2 over season 1.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, what do we got?
Okay, so the parts of this, I mean, I agree. The season 2 is definitely better than 1, and I love 1.
Mm-hmm.
The things that really stood out to me is like the callbacks to the original movies. Cheryl,
Oh yeah, yep.
she was like possessed again in the house, and like all that stuff was just gnarly and cool, especially if you love the original series of the movies. Like again, Henrietta, like one of the best parts. I did feel like a little bit like when they were, it was kind of. This is where I could feel like the story was the same again, though, a little bit. They tweaked some things here and there, but it was basically the same premise again. Like they have to get the book. They have, it was cool that Ruby like needs Ash's help. Like that was a cool thing. I'm like, okay. One of the best things I liked about the show too is Ruby's character arc. Of course, there's another Ruby at the end. It's a different Ruby, but like she actually changes in like her character arc. Is that she becomes a good person. She's trying to do the right thing now and stop this with Ash and the rest of the gang. And again, his dad was hilarious. Like that was one of the best shit I've ever seen. With those two like pitching about each other, and it was like, damn,
Yeah.
dude. It was cool. What was it? There was a scene I think where there's great moments where he's walking in his house, his old childhood home. Like you see Cheryl, like you see the flashbacks of like original Evil Dead, like stuff like that's the stuff like calls me back to like the show, like what I remember. Like that's what I remember. Again, his car being possessed was pretty gnarly. Like Rob pretty much nailed this shit. Like he nailed all the good points about this season too. Like they conjure up like oh god, the ending with the cabin exploding, like that was like I really thought this was the end, because when I first watched this show when it was coming up season by season, because like I'm like, where can you go from here? But then again, like you see Ruby at the end, a different, I think it's a time from the past or whatever, like she's like all that stuff. And what was it? Yes, the thing with Pablo was cool here. He was like, of course he was possessed and like all that stuff. And the part where like where you think he's dead and like you're just like you feel awful, and like what's Ash doing? He's in like I think in a parking lot like doing donuts, getting high because he can't face it, and like he's upset. Or was that season 3? Shit, I don't remember. It could have been.
I know. Kind of
No,
like
that was season 2, Josh.
It wasn't really.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Okay. But like I felt like the story was repetitive here a little bit, but like I wasn't bored yet, if that makes any sense. I was engaged. I was still locked in. The opening is so damn good with like the Jacksonville and everything goes shit. He's like, what the hell? And I actually enjoyed this. Is actually my favorite season, calling it out. Like I like this more than the first one, and I like the first one. But I'm gonna give this a 10, man. I really had fun with this. I love the callbacks to the original movies. Like Henrietta coming back was one of like the high points. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Ted Raimi is back, is playing himself as his old friend. That stuff I loved. I just ate that stuff up. There was great moments where like I think Ted Raimi's in the bedroom with Cheryl, and he's like no time for hooky. Like actually opened the door, it cuts it open. But yeah, man, I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I don't really have any negatives with it yet, because like again, the story was kind of a little bit repetitive, but like they tweaked it enough where like they changed things where like it still felt fresh to me. I wasn't bored. I like it.
I agree.
So as far as season 2 went for me, I agree. I like the Ruby's character arc where, she turns into a good guy, but, mainly because she couldn't handle her kids, which, a lot of people can deal with. But I do find it funny that she had to go to Ash for his help because that was the last person she wanted to ask for help. I think, well, one of the biggest things that I enjoyed, like you guys are mentioning about, was his dad, because it shows exactly why Bruce Campbell is the way he is. Well, Ash Williams, but it does suck that he gets, he goes into his hometown and gets shit on for being called a liar, and in reality, he ends up saving all of them. To the point that even his father sees how much of a hero he really is before he meets his demise. The car possession was a little extra, but I mean, it definitely helped with the flow. Um, Pablo turning into the book was definitely a nice little twist that nobody could really see. Then the morgue part was pretty funny. If anybody wants to watch this, I highly recommend it, and I'm pretty sure so don't Josh and Rob. But the morgue scene, just take very cautious too. It's funny but also gruesome.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think the highlight of this was the fact that they had one of the best villains out of all 3 seasons, and that was this demon called Ball, who ends up possessing Pablo. And I'm pretty sure it's all spoilers, and that's fine. But he was one of the key characters in season 2. He pushed everyone to their limits, and even at the cabin, I think one of the best parts was when Ash goes, let's fight mano a mano. And then, like you guys are mentioning, the Ruby from back in time, she decides to change the rules a little bit. But overall, I mean, this season had everything that you wanted. It had gruesome. It had nudity to a point. It was crazy. There's a lot more comedy than there was in season 1. Which, I mean, if you go back to our trilogy podcast, it's kind of like Evil Dead 2. There's a lot more comedy and, not really all focused on horror, but there is plenty of gore, a lot of violence. But yeah, I mean, overall, I say this is a 10 out of 10. But with that being said, Rob, let's start off with season 3.
All right, well, before we get into season 3, I have to change my ranking. I mean, because I'm rethinking all this, and I'm like, you know what? They're all right, and like, it was my favorite season, so I'm like, I got to give it a 10, and that would be, I'd have to give season 1 a 9 out of 10 then, because they were both very close, and I hopefully don't ever have to do that again, because I think it's because I was ranking it, and then as I was watching it, I didn't wait until after season 3 was done to go back to it. So yeah, I definitely got to give that a 10 out of 10, and season 1 a 9 out of 10, just because they really did give us everything we could ask for, especially in that second season. So with season 3, we get to meet Ash's wife and his daughter Brandy that we had no clue about. And I think it's episode 1, spoiler alert again, but Ash's wife dies. They didn't really give us much about her that I can remember. We also get this new guy, Dalton, who I really didn't care for him, to be honest with you. I didn't care. I don't know. We also, so the whole, that fetus scene in the car with Ruby and like the baby attacking the dude and shit, like that was crazy. That was cool. I liked it. and we get to see that baby grown up and fighting with Ash, and I thought that was fucking hilarious. The like baby climbs up inside the body and stuff, and his head's poking out. And I thought it just reminded me of why I like season 2 so much, just the goofiness of it. And I mean, they all had goofy parts to it, but season 2 just, you know. So in this one, we also get, which I thought was cool, we get to see Brock being resurrected, Ash's dad.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool. And then, is it the scene where he's trying to tell him something, and I don't even know, did they ever explain? I think it might have been in season 2 or 3 when he's like drowning his dad in the tub, and he's trying to tell him something. I don't remember if they ever told, like, if he ever told him what it was.
Season 3, yeah, he does.
He does. Okay, I'm not see. I should
Yeah,
be paying
because
more attention.
Rob, you remember the flashback?
I don't know. In season 3 of Flashback, why can't I remember that?
Because it's after he's drowning his father, and then his father comes in as a ghost and brings him back to the hardware store.
Oh, yeah, and they go to the hardware store and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he says it during that time.
He shows him what the memory that he was going to tell Ash.
I don't know. What was it?
It was that one of those Sumerian knights came for Ash years ago, and his father killed him.
Wow, how did I miss that?
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, right. Wow. I don't know how I missed that at all, dude. And that had to have been in the later half of the season, right?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
I don't know, because I don't know. I feel like the first half of the season had my attention, and then it just got really repetitive, and that might have been why.
I think it happened in episode 5. It was right before.
So that's, yeah.
Yeah, it was right before Kelly with the Kandorian death.
Okay, yeah. I think I remember now. Maybe it's starting to come to me a little bit.
That's what old age does to us.
Yeah, you reminded me of that. So there were some other things. What?
I said, but continue.
Yeah, no, I know. I got off track with that. We get to see Kelly and Pablo kiss. That was another thing, because there was always this little sexual tension between them, and
yeah,
you're wondering when's it going to happen. We also got, I didn't remember that, but I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a Tom Savini Easter egg in this season. I don't know if there were any others.
I did not see that.
I did not see that either.
Yeah, it's I can't remember the exact scene. I want to say it's towards the end. It's with Brandy, his daughter. She's in the hardware store, and on the TV playing is Tom Savini in the background.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. How the hell did I miss that?
Yeah. I noticed that, and I noticed the other ones when we talked about the movie. Evil Dead 1, the Easter eggs, but I didn't notice any others throughout the movies or the show. There was some, the worst thing about this season to me, besides being repetitive, is that there was too much. No one was like, everyone felt safe. It was like no one really died.
I agree with that.
And that drove me nuts throughout this, because I was like getting confused. I'm like, I thought she was dead. Oh, I thought he was dead. And you see like Brandy dying in his arms, Ash's arms, and it's sad. It's like, dude, that sucks. And then she's brought back into it again. It's like, I know they didn't intend it to be the last season, but like, they got it. I hate shows that play it safe like that all the time, and they wait till the last episode to kill off people. And by then, you don't even give a fuck because the show's over. And they wouldn't even do it in this one. I didn't like that about it. But I did like the episode 9, that Stranger Things like ending to it, like with that big monster like in the air, like the creature thing. Cool. Like, I thought that was cool. I was like, all right, this is cool. It reminded me of Stranger Things. We also see Ash giving Brandy the necklace that we've seen in the movies. That was kind of cool. And then seeing them team up together, I like that. And I mean, I thought it was a great finale. It had a lot of action going on. And then towards the ending, I got a little confused. I mean, I thought the robot chick was hot that he was with. I'm like, what is going on though, dude? Like, he's got this new car, this new chick, and she's like, I'm like, where are we going after this? And I really wish we could have seen a season 4 for this because I don't know. I'm curious to see what they had in store. I don't know type stuff, but yeah. I mean, besides it being repetitive and feeling too safe, and the Pablo possessed stuff was really played out. I don't know. It wasn't bad. It didn't, as you can had no clue about what Ash's dad said to him or shown him. It didn't have I wasn't hooked onto this like the first 2 seasons. So I'm gonna have to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not terrible, but it's not my favorite. It's just kind of like the Army of Darkness to me. It's like, I'm like, the first 2 are great, the third, not so much. But yeah, that's my thoughts pretty much on the TV series.
Respect, man.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, what do we got?
So I do agree with Rob. He had a lot of good points. This is where I was like, this is where the story was very repetitive for me. I was just like, it slowed me down a little bit, but like there are enough new things in here to keep you satisfied. I love that he has a daughter. There's a good moment with the they have the funeral and like he comes out of the casket. He's like,
how did I forget that?
It's like, he's like, is that what it looks like? Is that what it looks like? There's some really I love the stuff with him and his daughter. Like he's like that's my kiddo, and I was like, oh my god, like why is this hitting me in the feels so much? Because like we never seen Ash this vulnerable before. He has something he can really like. He has his friends, but he has a real family member that he doesn't want to lose. And I mean, I guess it could have kind of put some stakes in the last of the show, right? Like it, like the ending boss was cool. I like the design of it at least. I loved how like it kind of felt tied up, but like Rob said, like I would like to see where this would have gone a little bit more. I like that the past Ruby gets what's fucking coming to her. Like what were those things called? The darkness or something like they picked them up and, like set their asses on fire and like ash.
Oh, the dark ones?
The dark ones. Yeah, that scene was like that shit was awesome. I was like, I'm like, yep, that's what you get. I was like, I would say like near the end of the season of season 3, like Kelly's kind of like what was that episode like you think she's dead, she dies, and like she's trapped in that like vortex world, like she can't get out of the underworld thing, and they're trying to rescue her. And there's some great moments though. I loved how Ruby was like trying to take advantage of her daughter and like mess with her mind. The scene that really sticks out to me is like I love where his daughter finds out that Ruby's full of shit. Like they're at the prom, and the evil clone of Ash is like cutting through everybody at the prom, like slicing people open, and that was like a gore fest. I was like, holy shit, man, they're going out with this. And I think one of my favorite moments from this season was where the mascot is evil. Like you see that mascot with the tigers or whatever it was, and it's possessed. That was some cool stuff. It did feel like a finale, like Rob said, like they finally kiss, and I'm like, thank you, fucking Christ. I'm like, because you can feel, like Rob said, you can feel the tension in this shit. Like it's right there. That finally happens. I agree with Rob about Dalton. I didn't really give a shit about him. I love the ending. Like he like Jared says, like he always takes the easy way out of things, and then in this one he takes responsibility and he fights for what he cares about, his friends and family, and tells him to go, and he takes this thing on, and I'm like, yeah, man, that was an amazing moment. And then the ending bums me out. I'm not gonna lie, because it's I feel like it was left open on purpose just in case they want to come back to this property in the future, because like but like dude, like isn't his daughter dead then because he's in the future?
Yeah, it's very confusing. I agree. The whole season was confusing to me at
They're
times.
calling him savior, and I'm like holy shit, like all this stuff, they're in the future, like Rob said, the robot chick was hot, but like I was like, I got bummed out because I'm like, everybody he must have loved must be gone. Then that's the part where I was like, this kind of sucks. Like but I could be wrong. I was confused too, so I don't know. I thought they were gone. I could be wrong though. And overall it was enjoying. There's enough here too to keep satisfied, keep watching the show. There's some good points. The cons for me was that it got a little bit repetitive with like the story, but they add some new fresh stuff in here as well. Also, I have to give them props for that too. Like they have the daughter come in. They tweak things with Kelly where they have to get her out of that dark world abyss thing, which was cool. Yeah, I actually agree with Rob's rating. I'm going to give it a 7 too, man. I don't hate this, by the way. I have to be very clear. Just because it's my least favorite doesn't mean I hate it. I don't hate it. I would watch all these again. Like this is very fun to watch the show. It is very rewatchable. Everybody brings their A game, and I had a blast doing this for the podcast, man. It was fun. But yeah.
So surprisingly, I'm going to overmatch you guys. I'm going to say it's an 8 out of 10, but that's only because Brandy is beautiful. Simple as that. There's no ifs, ands,
I
about
agree.
it.
I agree. She is.
But I mean, Dalton was kind of a pointless character. However, it was a good segue into talking about the Sumerian Knights. However, I think that those knights as a whole was kind of poor planning. Because I mean, in most movies, when you have knights like that are supposed to protect a savior, they're actually supposed to put up a fight and not get easily beaten like they did.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, I do like that he's married, even though she meets her demise pretty quickly. I did like Josh's comment about him falling out of the coffin because you don't really see that nowadays.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot more Bruce Campbell comedy in this. This was, I mean, if you want to kind of compare it to the original trilogy, it was that movie that could have been made between Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I mean, I also agree with Rob that it wasn't the strongest, and you really had to focus. In shows like this, you shouldn't have to focus that much. You should be able to just sit there and watch it, and maybe play with your nephew or something. But your other eye is still looking at it. The season did not have that.
Mm-mm.
Like I've known Rob for the longest time, and he wouldn't have ever missed a critical detail like that. Unless if it didn't catch his eye. And, sometimes that happens when it goes deeper and deeper into seasons, but with how much material they had to work with, that shouldn't have happened. I do find it very, I don't like that Ruby was kind of the big villain in this. You could argue and say that the Dark Ones were, but they didn't really show up until the end of the season.
True.
And it kind of throws controversy to season 2 because, season 2, Ruby was so afraid of Ball, but if she was so afraid of him, then why is she more afraid of the Dark Ones, and why wasn't it brought up in season 2?
Very good point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I do like that, they possessed Kelly's body, after they killed her. I'm also glad that they expanded more on Kelly and Pablo's relationship because they were teasing it for the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And, that they finally kissed and she decided to go off and kill Ruby because she killed Pablo. And then he comes back, and I do enjoy that they put him as a Deadite. That was definitely, it's intriguing to see a main character as one, just like we saw in Evil Dead 2. But definitely, I mean, I think it's worth watching. I don't know if I would watch as much as I'd watch the other seasons. But I do think that the main reason why... Now, I didn't watch this when it was on TV. I think I watched the first season. But I think the main reason why they didn't get a green light for season 4 is because, like you guys are saying, it was towards futuristic. So I think it would have been a laughable comedy, just like Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that all being said, I still agree with the 8 out of 10 because Brandy's beautiful.
I mean, can I say this? I might be the minority in this one, but I like the TV show better than the movies.
Huh.
I
Never thought of that.
over the movies, in my opinion. Even season 3. Like, my rank would be so far for this little area with the remake and everything.
Yeah.
It would be the TV show. So season 1, season 2, and then season 3, and then Evil Dead 2, 1, Army of Darkness.
Huh,
I
never thought
just
of that.
loved it. I loved the show. I can't lie. Like, I thought it had everything I wanted in it. Just season 3 was just very confusing and had issues, but overall, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I had to say that because I was thinking of that. I'm like, I gotta, like, I love the movies. Don't get me wrong, the movies are amazing, but I have to put the show over the movies.
Josh, you willing to weigh in on this?
I'm in shock, dude. Hold on. I mean, this is why I love doing these things with you guys, because like I respect everybody's opinion, but like it's really interesting. I love hearing all sides of this. So this is cool, man. Like I would personally probably put the show over Army of Darkness just because, like, I mean, it's a comedy. We discussed this before. That's what it is. There's some horror elements here and there, but overall, it's over the top comedy, and it's okay. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, are we gonna like do like a full life rating right now, or like,
I mean, Josh,
I think we can.
If you want, you can.
Without the remake in it until we discuss that, and then Evil Dead Rise. But yeah, what do you think? What's your rank with the TV shows and the first 3 movies?
Dude, I'm like that, like Sam Neill in Jurassic Park when Rob said that. I'm like, freeze! I definitely have a love for the movies a little bit more, just because I grew up with those. But like, he's not wrong. Like, I don't think there really is any wrong answer here. I think the show's amazing too, though. So I would definitely have to go without putting the remake in this. I would definitely go 1. Probably the same way like the movies lined up. Probably 1, 2, and then not Army of Darkness. The show, and then Army of Darkness. I don't hate Army of Darkness. It's just like, yeah, I don't hate Army of Darkness. People are gonna listen to this like, you fucking liar.
They're gonna hate me. They're like, how dare you disrespect the movies? No. But no. Jared? Where is your ranking on this? I'm curious.
So the way that I see it is, movies will overmatch TV show 10 times over.
Okay.
Simple fact of, there would be no TV show if there was no movie. There'd be no Bruce Campbell if there was no Evil Dead.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But with that being said, I do understand where Rob's coming from, because the TV show was, I mean, granted, it was one of the better ones that they adapted. Like, we all know there's been plenty of other TV shows based off horror movies, and this is the only one that's been as successful.
Agree.
So I mean, where Rob's coming from is completely understandable. However, the way that my ranking would go is it would probably go Evil Dead 1, and then it would go season 2 of Evil Dead. Well, sorry, Ash vs. Evil Dead. And then you go Evil Dead 2, and then season 1, and then it'd be a dead tie between Army of Darkness and Ash vs. Evil Dead season 3, because granted, like I said, Brandy's beautiful, but when I see a couple skeletons getting flipped over and they're like, "Oh, what the hell?" That's hilarious.
It is.
That's where I stand with that.
All right, it's good to see we all have different takes on that. It's interesting. I respect it.
Yeah, same.
So let's see. I think we have the final Evil Dead 2013 quote-unquote remake. Rob, let's start it off. What do we got?
I love this movie. The intro to this was just so cool too, with like the daughter being set on fire, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, are these people like really trying to kill their own daughter? But then I already knew because I saw the movie back when it came out in 2013, opening night, which was pretty cool to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that. So like I already knew, but just rewatching it, you kind of sit there and like you're like, wow, like this is fucked. But then you're like, oh, okay, that's not their daughter. She's the Deadites in her or whatever. No, she's a Deadite, and I don't know. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was cool. I like that we didn't get any cringy dialogue in the beginning. Again, that was one thing I just didn't like with the other one, like the movies. I like that we start off going to the cabin after the intro, and it's similar to the original, but we don't have a shot for shot thing. Like it wasn't like the bench was moving back and forth. The key wasn't above the door. Like I'm glad they didn't do a shot for shot like some other remakes have done, at least Psycho. So I like that about that too. I like that we also, I think the brother gives Mia a necklace, kind of similar to like connected. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I am okay. I got a call and it canceled out. We also get the wood scene that they did. I thought that was done better than the original.
Agree.
Yeah, I really liked it. Another scene that jumped out to me was the bathroom scene. I'm just kind of going over little scenes that stood out to me. And then the girl, I don't remember her name, but that when she's cutting off her arm.
Oh Jesus,
God, dude, that was
I
insane.
think it was Natalie.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, you're right. That was insane. So I was just like, holy shit, dude! Like, that was awesome the way they did that.
Yeah.
Even the nail gun scene.
Oh God,
Dude, that made me. I was like, oh, dude, like I felt that. I was like, oh God, dude, that's no. That was awesome. The dialogue in this movie was at times a little like I watched it with my nephew, and the scene where like Mia's in the basement and she's just like talking about being raped in hell and like I'll suck your cock, pretty boy, and I'm like, whoa, dude, like my nephew's 12, so he's heard some things, but I'm just like, Jesus, dude, I'm like, I forgot about this. I was like, I completely forgot about this, and he was laughing, of course.
Don't
Which
leave Rob
I'm
with your
glad.
kids.
What?
So don't leave Rob with your kids. He'll have
Yeah,
a lot of
Let me watch Evil Dead at 2 a.m, dude. Dude, it was too funny. But I'm glad it made him laugh because you could tell like he watched the first Evil Dead with me and he did enjoy it. And he wanted to speak about this. I'm gonna take him to see Evil Dead Rise, so hopefully he'll talk about that. But he did enjoy the first Evil Dead. He didn't get to watch the other ones with me, but he did see the 2013 movie and he loved it. And I remember you could tell he was getting creeped out at some parts, but when they did that type of dialogue, he was laughing. So I'm glad that he got to like get out of it for a little bit because his anxiety is probably through the roof during the movie. Another scene that stood out to me is when the brother's burying Mia and she got like the plastic bag over her head and she's like talking to him.
Yeah.
Like holy shit! The way they did that was just cool. The effects, which brings me to the ending with the dude. I wish I had my 4K set up right now because I would have loved to see that in 4K. That blood raining from the sky.
Oh man.
Yeah. I remember seeing it for the first time in the theaters and being blown away and just being like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, I loved it. I loved it. I loved Mia. I loved her character. I thought the actress did really good. The actors were good to me. There wasn't one standout. Like in the original Evil Dead, it was more like, Bruce Campbell was just the standout. And the rest of them, I was like, I don't really care for. Their acting's not that great. But here, I thought everyone did good. It was awesome. And I didn't know this because when I first watched it, I didn't stay in the theater. So when I rewatched it, I didn't even know about the post-credit scene with Ash.
Oh wow.
Just kind of saying groovy. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh shit. So that topped it out even more. Like at this point, I already was like, I've already knew this remake was one of the best remakes out there, or reboot remake, I guess. This was one of my favorites. like if I had to put a list of remakes, this is near the top. And so I already had my rank, but when I seen that post credit scene, I was like, oh, they even added him in it. Like 10 out of 10. Like this to me is the best. Like if I'm doing my ranking, Evil Dead 2013 is number one. And I love it, dude. I would love to. I wish they had continued with this story to see where it could have went with her character, but who knows what they'll do. But yeah, that's my take on the remake.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Josh, what do we got on deck for you?
So, like Rob said, this is one of the best remakes I've ever seen in my life. This is like a rock and roll horror movie event. This is like you have like a party at your house watching this, drinking beers and just enjoying the movie. The opening is incredible because can we just say like how beautiful the movie looks by cinematography? It looks gorgeous, man. The way they shot this. Everything looks amazing, and the opening, like they're hunting her down, and I'm like, oh, these like some nut jobs or something, and then like she's like, I'll swallow your soul, daddy, and I was like, what the fuck did you say? And then of course she changes, and like Rob says, like, they set her on fire, and like he shoots her. He's like, I love you, baby, and blows her head off, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm like, if this is how it opens, I'm like, are we in for something? And we are. I mean, the audience is, and you kind of again, I love the fact that they're at this cabin because Mia, who, as Rob mentioned, is an addict, and they're trying to help her kick a drug habit. And it's actually a good idea. Like middle of the I forget. I guess I don't remember every character's name. I'm sorry. The one girl's like a nurse, and like she's helping them.
Olivia.
Thank you, dear. Like Olivia, and then they're helping her out there, and like the one blonde haired guy with the glasses. I forgot his name too. Shit.
Eric.
Thank you, Jared.
Jeez, yeah, dude. I don't know any of them besides me.
Thank God for Jared, bro. It's like
Yeah.
fuck. And like Eric and like oh my God, what was the brother's name, dude?
David.
Thank Christ for Jared. Like what the fuck?
Right. Seriously, I'm drawing blanks.
Like Eric and David kind of have this history. He kind of thinks he bailed on them and left them alone, and like they had that little thing going on in the story. And then, they go there, and of course, and this is the thing that kind of like makes me like, okay, so Eric finds the book, and it's like wrapped in like this black stuff and like this barbed wire, and it says "Do not open."
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, you're opening the fucking, like, someone went to great lengths to stop you from opening the book, dude. I'm like, why? And I love that he gets hurt the most in this fucking movie because he opens the book and reads and obviously releases it. Like Rob says, when he releases like the evil, like it's doing like the point of view camera shots through the woods, fucking looks beautiful. It looks so good, man. Mm-hmm. The scene where Mia is possessed, like for the first time, and like the cabin door blows open, and like I could have thought I heard the original cantation of the first movie, like we're here to swallow your souls and shit like that. And
yep,
the bathroom scene is insane, where the needle that goes into Eric's eye up close, you see it go, and I'm like, fuck this. It's just gore. Like the scene, I love this. I don't know why this scene stands out to me so much, but the Natalie, when she's possessed, and like I think she gets bitten or something about in her hand, and like she's in the sink, and she starts pressing her hand, these black things start coming out of her hand, like these little like they look like little beads or something. Like these black things, she starts pushing on her hand, and these black things are coming out of her hand, like you see her hands get possessed. What else? What else stands out? I love like some people got really pissed off at this. People get mad that Ash isn't in here. I'm not. I don't think we need to like a remake anything like that. Like Bruce is Ash to me, so I'm glad they left it alone. They did their own story. What else? Of course the like the swallow your cock, pretty boy. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. that stuff, I was like, I forgot about that shit. And I mean, the gore, the character, like you care about the characters. There wasn't one character I'm like, I hope you fucking die now. Like I was like kind of rooting for everybody. I love how they switch it up near the end where, you think they kind of are implying to you that David is going to be like the new Ash. He's going to be the new survivor here. And then he goes too. And I'm like, well, just Mia here. And of course, the ending I think is incredible. Like Rob said, this is not a rub in your face, bro. I promise. The 4K looks beautiful when the blood's raining. Like everything,
I bet it does, dude. Shit.
Everything is lighting up, and I was like, Jesus fuck, and I love how the scene where she gets trapped in the she's in that shed thing, and like the devil thing is like stabbing the wall.
Yeah.
And it goes through her leg, and I'm like, fuck this stuff, dude. And she falls on the car, like her arm gets trapped, and she rips off her fucking arm. I'm like, dude, this girl's gnarly. And of course the ending is where, she's like, I'll swallow your soul, and she's like, swallow this, and shoves the saw down her fucking throat. I'm like, yeah, that'll work. And I love how when she kills, I'm supposed to believe it's like the devil or something. I love how the effect she sinks back into the ground after she kills the demon thing. It just goes back into the ground, and I'm like sinking back to hell or something. I'm like that was another effect. Overall, cinematography is fucking beautiful. The characters, I mean, Eric was dumb as fuck, but he got punished the most, so that makes sense. It's one of the greatest remakes ever, and these guys know how much I love the first Evil Dead. I would actually agree with Rob. I would put this over that. I really would. It's still enjoyable. It blew me away, man. I enjoyed watching it again. It's been a while, and it was a good time. And if you have not seen it, you must. It is a must.
Oh, definitely a must.
Yep.
All right. Looks like I'm going to be the odd man out again.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
However, so when this movie first came out, I refused to watch it. I can't stand remakes.
Yeah.
And I honestly, when Josh and Rob mentioned about doing this, I was like, oh, Jesus, now I finally have to watch this thing. And I honestly thought for a second that I did watch it. And then I was watching it earlier, and I'm like, oh, no, I never did see this. I have to give credit to both Rob and Josh. They neglected to tell any of you people, the audience and our fans, that I watched this today. So that's the only way that I can remember who these characters' names are.
Damn, you really waited, huh? So
thank God you did, dude.
That's too funny.
However, I was very pleased with it. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows me, remakes I can't stand. There's been a lot of horrible ones, and we'll probably talk about them in this podcast. Nightmare on Elm Street remake, Friday the 13th remake. There's a lot that they don't hold the candle to the original. There was actually a lot that I liked about this, and I didn't expect to. But I'm gonna go more towards what I disliked first. I didn't really like how the blood was. The blood, I mean, I loved how gruesome the whole film was, but a lot of the blood kind of looked like fruit punch.
Dude, I thought it looked muddy at times. I didn't know if it was the copy I was watching. I brought that up to Josh.
But when Mia pukes on Olivia, that looked like complete fruit punch, and I was like, "Are you serious right now?" But then, when you guys were mentioning about how towards the end, when the blood comes down in rain, that looked like actual blood. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where it differentiated, but that's where my thought was. I didn't really like about how they portrayed the Deadites. In the original, they made more of an aspect to show that they were actual Deadites. Yeah. In this film, they show it more like they give off like a Resident Evil vibe, it's just in the eyes.
I could see that, yeah.
And I mean, it worked well with the story, it worked well with the film, but it bothered me. I think besides David and Mia, the characters were kind of lame. I don't think Natalie even needed to be there. But Eric, like you guys said, was very stupid, and he got hurt the most, like he should have.
Yeah.
I also didn't like how there were 3 different ways to kill to kill these deadites. You know, in the first one, there was no way of saving the person, unless if you cut your arm off like Ash did, or it's like once you were a deadite, you were a deadite. Simple as that. There wasn't no reburying them or anything like that. So I mean, granted, I think that David probably should have burnt the whole place down, and he should have been the sole survivor.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. I think at that point Eric was out in the car. But even then, I am glad that Mia was able to come back from the dead.
Yeah.
I just don't like how they did it. I did like that they focused more on the David and Mia, like the brother sister, aspect of it more than a relationship aspect. Because it seems like at least around that time, like 2013, it was more about siblings, banding together than couples. And so I think it worked out well for when it came out. I do like how I don't like how they kind of changed the way the Necronomicon looked, but I do like that we got to see more of the pages and it was more detailed.
Yeah.
I also do like how, like you guys were saying with the villains, how they were more vocal. Like, I'm not even going to say it because you both said it, but that obscene thing that she said to her own brother.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a little bit much.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, movies that came out, around 2013, a lot of villains like that were vocal. And that's what I feel like we need when more movies come out, is to be a more vocal villain.
Yeah.
So where you can connect with them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, how can I say this? I didn't like how they portrayed it towards one demon. Like, in the first one, it was all these numerous demons that could be part of the Necronomicon, and now it's supposedly one specific demon that ends up coming to life after killing 5 people.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, like I said, the film was done very well. I surprisingly liked it. I didn't expect to.
I'm glad you liked it.
Same.
Yeah.
I didn't. One of the things I didn't like was how quickly, how quickly they did the boomstick, but then they took their sweet time doing the chainsaw. Like,
Yeah.
I loved that they incorporate both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to watch it again because I didn't even know about the extra credit scene. So thank you for that one, Rob.
Yeah, no problem. I feel bad that I mean, it's not much, but it is cool that they at least added it.
Yeah, it is a good part. Yeah.
The only thing that saved the film in my eyes is, like Josh was saying, when she jammed the chainsaw into her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you tried to kill the demon any other way, I'm sorry, but that wouldn't have been a good ending to me.
I agree.
But
He is underrated.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it probably an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna put it over the original.
I could see that though. I can see that why.
It was definitely better than Army of Darkness, but
I agree with that.
and maybe even in my mind, Evil Dead 2. I know that you guys like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, that's where I stand on it.
Yeah,
Cool.
no, I thought it was great too. And can I just say how underrated Mia is as a final girl?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Like, she's not really brought up at all. And watching it, she's just a badass, dude. Like, when you said sticking the chainsaw in the mouth, like, that was just, it was epic.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good. you have good points too. I forgot about the the blood, because like the scene where Natalie gets her arm cut off and like you see the blood fly out, it does look like Punch at that scene. So
Yeah, they were in the bathroom scene. To me, the blood went, the whole needle in the eye and stuff. I don't know if it was the copy I was watching. It just didn't look. It looked brown at times, and I don't know. I'm gonna have to find my copy of it and rewatch it and see.
I have to go back and look at it too, because now you have me curious.
Yeah. That was the only issue I had, really, was when I watched it. I'm like, dude, why does the blood look like that? But other than that, I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, I do too, but I do agree. I mean, Jared has good points, though. I do agree
Oh
about.
yeah.
I do agree with the Deadite thing. If I had to say any negative, was with the way they looked. Like they really didn't have. Like I will say in the original, like you can tell they were Deadites. You can tell.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, it's like you said, the eyes. It was the eyes, and like they make like I could have swore to God I heard like the scene where Eric is turning, like he's turning his neck. I thought it's not like some kind of a bug noise. It was like a little noise when like he turned his neck when he was possessed, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I was like,
Right.
Yeah, I do agree with his points though too, because like it's, I mean, I wish they would have looked a little bit better than what we got, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of made up with it a little bit with the gore, but like still,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, no, the gore in it was amazing.
I agree. Yeah, it was really good.
So, before I wrap this up into one giant conclusion, is there any final statements that you lovely gentlemen would like to say about the TV show, the remake?
I will say this, even though I hold the remake higher over the original, the first Evil Dead, I will say the original Evil Dead is still scarier. I could still watch that in the middle of the night and get creeped out at some point from the movie. I don't know if it was the way it was filmed or the time
Mm-hmm.
period. I don't get that in the remake, so I don't know. But yeah, man. I mean, it was cool doing this series. Like, I believe this is Rob's idea. Am I wrong? Or
I think it was, yeah, right?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed this series. I liked the TV show. I was happy to go back and redo this for the show, the podcast. It was fun to revisit these films, man. Like I had a blast doing this. So it was. If you haven't seen any of this, you should. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, they're all must watch. I mean, even Army of Darkness, like it is definitely something you're gonna want to check out.
Agree.
Final words, Rob?
I loved it. I loved all of it. I mean, the TV show, I really do wish we could have seen a season 4. I did hear that there's talk about a revival of a cartoon. I don't really know how I feel about that, but Bruce Campbell's supposed to do the voice of Ash in that, which would be cool. I don't know if that's still going on, but that was, there was talks about that. And I would like to see, I just wish we could have got a continuation or one more movie.
Yeah.
Continuing where the show left off, maybe, and then just wrapping it up. Like, I'm okay without seeing any more of Ash's story. I think they showed us so much in the TV show. They brought a lot of lore into it, and like, I'm okay if they don't want to continue with that. Besides wanting one more season, or like I said, a movie to conclude it all, I would like to see a sequel to this 2013 remake, though. I really wish we could have got that. But besides that, and just saying that I think we should do a podcast on some Flannel Girls, because Mia is underrated.
I agree.
She's not my favorite. There's someone else, and I'm sure we all know who that is. We all agree. But
yeah,
I think we should do that. I think we should definitely touch upon remakes, because we were talking about that.
Well,
brought up.
I do have a question, actually.
Yeah.
We are going to do to finish this, put the final nail in the coffin to this series, right? We are going to watch Evil Dead Rise and review that, right?
Oh,
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you guys feel about it, like a sneak peek, but it looks fucking incredible from what I've seen so far.
Oh, it looks amazing. To me, I think it might be the best one. Like, just seeing that
trailer, it might.
Like,
I could agree with that. Dude. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, I'm very hyped for it. This was the second. This is the second movie this year I was hyped for, besides Scream 6. This was like the next one. So after this, Insidious in July. So I mean, this is a highly anticipated movie. I can't wait.
Yeah, same.
So as our lovely audience can tell, both Josh and Rob are very excited for our lovely review next week, which we will be talking about Evil Dead Rise. I hope that you all enjoyed as much as we have enjoyed talking, and hope you all have a good night.
We'll see you next week.